sources says that Ben Johnson is going to be the Raiders coach. Like, real good sources.
If Ben Johnson chooses to go to the Raiders, I will then be glad that he didn't go to the Bears.
I think it's the Raiders or Lions. Take that Raiders job or stay put for Ben Johnson.
I remember seeing Shador when he was a little kid. I was at their house in Texas.
The Raiders head coaching search is getting insane right now. It's getting to the point where, despite the fact that they do not have a franchise quarterback, the Raiders look in line to be getting their best offseason move since they traded for Devontae Adams in 2022. And Bears fans and the media are absolutely flipping out about the fact that the Raiders could be landing Ben Johnson thanks to Tom Brady having a minority ownership and some sway with Ben Johnson.
On the crazy reports on Ben Johnson apparently wanting to go work for Tom Brady and the Vegas Raiders. Listen, there's way too much smoke around. See all the headlines that are out there, and I'm like, okay, I can dismiss it. It's off a beat reporter that's locally. I subscribe to The Athletic. They're great. Pro Football Talk, maybe they're aggregating the same report. And then Ian Rappaport comes out and drops a nuke and says there does seem to be an acknowledgement that Ben Johnson is the leading candidate for the Raiders job. He goes on to say, and it's expected that he will accept the job. The Bears want him. Everybody wants him.
Thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Underdog, where you can win money on sports. Underdog is one of the fastest growing fantasy apps in the industry. I love their pick'em game where you can pick some of your favorite players around the league and guess whether or not they'll have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. You can win up to 1,000 times your money in one night. I love this for football or any game that I want to spice up, or I just guess whether or not somebody's going to have good yards or stats, and I can sit back and watch my picks hit. Check out this map to see if Underdog is available in your state. Shout out to California, Oregon, and Texas where it is available. Use my promo code Wi-Fi to claim a free pick, plus get up to $1,000 in bonus cash for first-time players. So visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find the app in the Apple or Google Play Store and download Underdog. Use my promo code Wi-Fi when you sign up to claim a free pick, plus get up to $1,000 in bonus cash for first-time players. The link is in the pinned comment and description below. What are you waiting for? Sign up for Underdog now. The reason why this is such a big deal is because Ben Johnson's the hottest head coaching candidate commodity in so long. Rejected the Commanders job, rejected allegedly the Panthers job. When you reject one of these head coaching jobs, that means you got some swagger. That means you know people want you. You can literally turn down one of these rare head coaching opportunities. There are old dudes out there who would do anything to be an NFL head coach. They would go full Joy Taylor to be an NFL head coach. And Ben Johnson has turned this down. And now he looks to be interested in the Raiders, and people who are Bears fans in the media are flipping out.
But if he chooses, after passing up the Washington job, turning down interviews, to not work with Caleb Williams and say, I want to go against Harbaugh, Peyton and Reed, Herbert, Nixon, Mahomes for a 4-win team that had no quarterback, there's confidence and then there's delusion. If Ben Johnson chooses to go to the Raiders, I will then be glad that he didn't go to the Bears. And to be clear, I badly want you to coach the Bears, but if you choose the Raiders, you're insane.
So this guy is absolutely heated. If you choose the Raiders, you are insane.
And you're going to a team that doesn't even have a quarterback, doesn't have a draft pick to go land a quarterback, and has to find a way somehow to get a quarterback. So good luck with that. Like,
I'm a Raiders fan, but that's a valid point, which is like, look, if you want to have success and get to the playoffs instantly, Bears may be easier. However, when you're talking about all these head coaches, Sean Payton, Ben Johnson, Jim Harbaugh, these are all dudes who are older. Ben Johnson's going to be the youngest guy in that division in the AFC West. Andy Reid, I think if they win the three-peat, I would not be surprised if he retires in a year or two. Jim Harbaugh, who knows how long he's going to go. He's in his 60s. Sean Payton, I think, still has about 3 to 4 more years in him, but all these head coaches are older. When you're in the NFC North with the Vikings, you got a hotshot coach in Kevin O'Connell who's going to be there for a long time. Dan Campbell is going to be there with the Lions for a long time. These are all guys you're going to have to go against for the rest of your career rather than just the first half.
Ben Johnson needs to take one of these jobs, and he's going to take one of these jobs. But can you imagine bypassing Jaden Daniels last year and then taking the Raiders job over that because Tom Brady is the attract?
I mean, that is crazy that he could have had Jaden Daniels in the Commanders job last year. I mean, now that we're seeing how Jaden Daniels is doing, maybe he should have grabbed that.
The Raiders have so much ground to make up right now, especially in that division. And that, to me, is what they have to overcome here. Now,
he's right about some things, not right about everything. You can't be be right about everything. Adam Schefter is just trying to say what he believes is happening based on people he's talking to. He thought Antonio Pierce was going to be safe for the Raiders head coaching job. Same thing with GM Tom Telesco.
Still think the Antonio Pierce situation could go either way, but my sense has been I think he'll be safe, but if this is a Mark Davis decision.
He was wrong. So clearly he doesn't know everything happening with the Raiders, not able to predict what's happening inside the building. So regardless if Schefter or anybody thinks it's a good idea for Ben Johnson to join the Raiders, is it happening? That's all that matters. Is it going to happen regardless? There's a lot of people who are also credible sources who are saying some things that make it sound like it's going down whether people like it or not. Mike Florio on the Dan Patrick Show.
Alignment has been the word most associated with Ben Johnson. He wants alignment with the front office. So you look at some of these jobs where there's a GM that maybe isn't going to be as aligned. And then you look at the Raiders, where 2 days after they fired the head coach, they cleared out the GM. The alignment is more likely going to be in Vegas if he chooses that job. And all indications when you talk to people around the league are the Raiders really want him. The question is, does he want to leave the Lions for anyone, specifically a Raiders team that needs a lot of help to become a contender?
It seems like Ben Johnson is valuing power over everything. Can he run the show himself? Can he choose his own GM? Will he be able to dictate football moves? Is he going to have to work under Ryan Poles with the Chicago Bears or work under Trent Baalke, the general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars? The only person in Ben Johnson's way in terms of making football decisions with the Raiders is Tom Brady. And maybe Tom Brady has given Ben Johnson assurances that, hey, dude, don't worry. You're going to be calling the shots. Your decision making is going to rank priority here, and you're going to perhaps be able to choose your own general manager. So I based on what's being said here, I think they let it slip that he's already the head coach of the Raiders. We'll show you that after this.
And I think this year, when you look at the jobs out there, you look at the teams that have interviewed him, like the Jets are at least sufficiently self-aware to not even bother to try to interview Ben Johnson, right? So I give them credit there. They know what they are. But I think it's the Raiders or Lions. Take that Raiders job or stay put for Ben Johnson.
You gotta love the sound of that if you're a Raiders fan. It is the Raiders or the Lions. And that's a really good point that he brought up. We know the Jets, Woody Johnson, the owner, meddles in the affairs, meddles in the front office affairs. His Gen Z son calls some of the shots, and they didn't even bother interviewing Ben Johnson. Why would they not try to interview Ben Johnson, the hottest head coaching candidate? Because they know that he'll reject them, and it's a complete waste of time. That's a really good point that shows that him being able to choose his own GM and have power matters the most, and there's no other team besides the Raiders available right now where he can do that. Now, let me just show you the craziest thing, and this happened on the Pat McAfee show. They were talking about the Deion Sanders to Raiders rumors because there was talk that Deion does want the Raiders job just because it gave him the opportunity to coach his sons. You had Max Crosby talk about his relationship with the Sanders family today.
Coach Prime for a long time. My brother actually was roommates with his son, Bucky, Deion Jr. So they go way back. So Deion's whole family. I remember seeing Shador when he was a little kid. I was at their house in Texas.
The rumors for the Deion Sanders are so crazy that even Crosby's being asked about, would you want to see Coach Prime coach the Raiders?
I mean, if Deion Sanders was my coach, how could I be mad? You know what I mean? So
and Adam Pac-Man Jones is saying that Deion knows the Raiders don't want him, and the reason he knows has a lot to do with my favorite BJ ever this offseason, Ben Johnson.
Okay. Unless he was able to coach both his sons, which I don't think that's possible because sources says that Ben Johnson is going to be the Raiders coach.
Okay.
Like real good sources, like I'm talking about like real good sources, as we shall say. I don't think Deion is going nowhere.
Adam Pac-Man Jones has his shades on. I don't know if he's like me and he partaked in anything before going on video. I've done it before. I'm not judging. Seems like he went a little bit loose with it and let some things slip. And he let it slip that Deion knows Ben Johnson's going to the Raiders, so he knows it's a wash for Deion to coach Shador in Vegas. That is huge, baby. That is huge. That is the news we needed to hear today. So all these people are flipping out about Ben Johnson going up against this tough competition in the AFC West. And that's pretty much the main argument. Why would you want to go in the toughest division, right? Maybe it's a bad idea. Maybe Ben Johnson is not scared. Maybe this dude is just not scared. That excites me, that the dude is saying, you know what? I know all three of these other teams made the playoffs. I know all three of these other teams have their franchise quarterback, but I think I could beat them if he joins the Raiders, which it seems like we're just waiting until the Lions get knocked out of the playoffs until he joins the Raiders. It seems like he's saying, you know what? I'm down to play this video game on all Madden mode. I don't need to do it on all pro mode or rookie mode. I'm going to go ahead and do it on all Madden mode. But there's an idea that Hendon Hooker, the former third-round pick out of Tennessee, could be leaving with Ben Johnson. Maybe Ben Johnson already has his quarterback who he knows he can compete with against the rest of the AFC West. This guy has been the backup with the Lions. He's been learning their scheme with Ben Johnson. What better person to be in position to take over than somebody like Hendon Hooker if you're Ben Johnson? You've been training this guy, you've been giving him the playbook. I would guess that Hendon Hooker would be minimum a third-round pick for the Raiders to trade for him, but he was a third-round pick in 2023. Maybe you can get away with a fourth-round pick because you only have 2 years left on his contract. I would not be surprised, and I think this would be the smart move for the Raiders and Ben Johnson.